Hi guys, welcome to this live. I don't have my cameras ready, sorry. I'm trying to get everything out. I'm getting ready to do the Tarotscopes for the earth signs, and then I'll probably sign off and re-sign back on and do the air signs next. But this is for the signs of Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, all my earth energy guys. So you guys are the ones, I was thinking about it today, you guys are the ones that, even though we're all sort of suffering, I feel like you guys are probably doing the best in this pandemic because the energy has slowed down so much so that it's probably rather earthy in its way. But you guys also like your control, so, and this is something that's outside of your control, so that might be a little spooky for my earth signs. That was sort of the message that I was getting when I was when I was thinking about my earth signs. So I'm going to share this out to a couple of groups really quick, and then we'll get started. Give me just one moment. Oh, wow, I don't know why Sean's getting all aggressive with me. Sean, stop fighting with me. It's not worth it. Hey Donna Houston Deacon, hey Jamie Taylor, hey Emily Williams, how are you? Emily, you're one of my Patreon subscribers, right? So I think you are at the $33 level. You get a free charming this month, so make sure you cash it in. I'm going to do a charming tomorrow night. So let me get on here and share this out, share the broadcast out really quick. Give me one moment, and we'll get started. If my damn thing will allow me to. I swear to God, my internet has just been shit lately. Like, full on. No bueno internet. And this is not working, so let's try it this way then. Hopefully my internet stays up tonight while I do this. Let's hope we can keep it up. Let me see here. Okay. This usually doesn't take this long, but hey Davina Pierre Lewis, how are you? Hey Jenny Roll. Hey Jeanette Farrell, how are you? So give me one moment while I share this out to groups. Share. Earth sign. Tarotscopes. For Taurus. Taurus. Bam. Virgo. Get at the Virgins. Virgo. And lucky Capricorn. Okay, so how this is going to work, I don't normally share this out to groups, but I'm going to try this for the month of May. Let me hit copy. Share to a group. Probably going to get in trouble for doing it this way, but we'll see. Okay, so as I was like thinking about this earlier today, all of my, I was saying this earlier when I first started this, all of my intuitions were that like my earth signs would be doing really well during this pandemic. I got this sense that you guys, even though you can't control it, it feels like the energy has slowed down on the planet, and it's actually kind of, you guys are adapting the best to it. I have a 174 hertz music playing because it's about healing the body, and we're starting there and we're going to build our way up. After this, we're going to jump into another video for all of the air signs, and so that's going to be a bit speedier energy or a bit faster energy. But this is just all dedicated to the month of May for my Taurus, Virgos, and Capricorns. So if you guys have any planets heavily placed in any of these signs, you would want to watch. So like if you have say a Taurus rising or a Virgo moon, this would be something that you might want to watch, even if you're, say, an Aquarius with a Virgo moon, or you're a Gemini with a Taurus rising, you know, that kind of a thing. So, or this could be if love becomes prevalent in these readings for the month of May, you might want to watch it if you have a Virgo, a Venus, if you've ever had a Virgo. Who hasn't? They're not really virgins. If you've ever had if your Venus is in any of the earth signs, you might want to watch that particular sign. But I am going live, so you're just going to have to roll with me through this. And hey, Irene Gunning, welcome from Scotland. So I'm going to flip the camera now and go into the readings and start shuffling. And hopefully this will all make sense. So let's just do this. Everyone's internet is crazy. Too many people on. Exactly, Regina. It's a kind of a bummer. So I'm asking for the month of May of 2020. What is the sort of higher message for my Taurians? Sun, moon, or rising, or heavily placed planets. I love me a good Taurian. You guys know how to get shit done. Stubborn as all get out. You guys are wonderful in that way. You are my worker bees, my grounded, sensual lovers. I love me some Taurus energy. One of my dogs is actually Taurus, and I laugh because he's a bulldog, which makes him stubborn to begin with, but then being a Taurus on top of that makes him double stubborn, like he's bully bull bull. And he's a sweetheart, but he's pushy. He can be pushy and adamant about certain things. Hey, Christina Avalos, how are you? So let's see what's going on in the month of May of 2020 for my Taurians. What are they to expect? All right, so this first card kind of tells me a little bit about sort of where the sign of Taurus is going to be at most of the month of May. It gives us a little insight only into not where you're kind of operating from, but sort of what you're going to be working on or potentially creating for in the future. So this is the Seven of Pentacles. So to me, this is about getting our material wealth kind of, or our material space back to normal, I feel like, back to balance. This doesn't necessarily feel like it's completely in balance in the month of May, but this is where I like that this is the kickoff card for Taurus. This being an earth sign and it being a Pentacles card is very much in line vibrationally, you know, with your sign. And it's also Taurus season. That's why we're starting off with the earth signs this going into May. So this feels very in line. I think that you guys are, like I was saying earlier when I was thinking about my earth signs, the sort of the message that I was getting was that even though things are a little bit outside of our control right now, this slowed down energy actually suits my Virgos, Capricorns, and Taurians. It gives you guys a little bit more time to think, a little bit more time to reflect. I think that you guys get a little bit more time to plan, even if it doesn't feel like you have full control over the plans. That's where you guys might feel a little bit uncomfortable. But when I'm looking at this Seven of Pentacles, to me, it feels like we're kind of, when you look at this man, I'll show him really closely, he's got this horn that he's blowing, right? He's like a merman or something, right? But he's blowing through that horn. And to me, I get this sort of hint that this is like, Taurus is kind of signaling in the energy of bringing in that grounded, earthy wonderfulness as your center, right? And so you guys are sort of reveling in this. Not only is it Taurus season, but you guys are also getting your kind of ducks in a row is the feeling that I'm getting from this card, sort of lining everything up and trying to feel like you're in control or in balance of stuff. I do feel like there's a little bit of celebration with this guy blowing this horn here, and we know how some of you Taurians love to blow, not only your tops, but your partners. I'm just kidding. Little naughty humor there for you guys. But you all are like sensual, great lovers. But let's just say this. I think that there's a part here to this, that there's a pride in what you guys do. And that's sort of a very Taurus trait, but it feels like you guys are getting back to that in the month of May. As things begin to even out, you guys get to sort of herald your earthy, what do I want to say, like your earthy wherewithal, like the way that you sort of push forward and you believe in yourself and you're strong in that. I think that that's what's going to happen for you guys, or that's going to be your center in the month of May, where you guys are concentrating your energy in really sort of bringing about that balance. This horn also is making me feel like, as my Taurians do that, it'll be interesting to see what's going on with Virgo and Capricorn. I have a feeling that you guys might be doing similar stuff because you're all earth signs, but I feel like this energy that you guys are bringing through this horn, the hit that I'm getting is as you guys blow out sort of this song, you're actually affecting others to calm them too. To see that as we watch sort of, how do I want to put this? Like, I feel like what I'm sensing from this card is that as you guys settle your stuff and start to bring your stuff to the forefront, other signs will be able to settle their stuff, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like the music that's coming from this horn is the celebration that's coming from this horn, the peace or the enjoyment that's coming from this horn is actually sort of setting the tone for maybe the other earth signs and beyond to kind of come in alignment with their own stuff, right? But Taurus is kicking it off definitely with this Seven of Pentacles in the center. All right, so the next card is the Foundation card. This is the card that everything is built upon. It's from the past. It tells me a bit about why things are the way that it is for my Taurians in the month of May. So let's look at this. This is the Five of Wands. Now, Wands is the element of fire and the spirit. To me, this is always, I love in this deck, this is the Harmonious Tarot. It's a mini deck, and I use it because it helps to fit all of the cards in one picture frame. But what I love about this deck, with this card in particular, is this is to me, in this deck, this card always represents sort of the building of one's spiritual path. I love that we have these little angels kind of harnessing these five wands together. Fives are always about change, right? And when I look at these five wands, to me, this is like building a spiritual ladder to higher understanding. So this being in your foundation space, guys, says to me that whatever you guys have been dealing with in the months past through this pandemic and maybe even before that, there's been a sort of spiritual awakening happening amongst my Taurians. There's been this sort of new spiritual path being carved out. There's this new spiritual awareness and growth that you guys have been working on and dealing with. And as you've been letting that sort of happen in your space, be it in your relationships, maybe in your career space, wherever it is that you're sort of connecting and feeling inspired, opening up new doors, that sort of thing, that's what this card would represent to me, where you're feeling sort of a spiritual shift and change, a sea change, or a new opportunity for growth. As you're building that, or as you have been working on that, it may have ground to a halt with the pandemic releasing in March, but you haven't given up on it. And this Seven of Pentacles says to me that you guys are going back to how do I want to say, like settling sort of the material world or your relationship to the material world so that you can kind of get back on this path. This path is the driving force, right? This path is about spiritual awakening and change. This foundation is sort of what's pushing everything forward through the month of May. So as you organize your material world and kind of get your ducks in a row, because that's the feeling that I get from this seven, that's the phrase that I'm hearing over and over again, is sort of lining everything up, career-wise, money-wise, organizing things as best you can. And it's not going to be super easy, let's say that, but it'll be challenging, right? Sevens to me present challenges in a way, but it's not anything that you can't handle and that you won't be able to sort of build upon, if that makes sense, or settle, right, throughout the month of May. That's going to be your focus, is kind of getting, like to me, it feels like you're going to get your material stuff back in line as best you can so that you can get back about this growth that's happening underneath all of it, this spiritual growth that's happening underneath all of it. Now, the next card is the Spirit or Soul card. This is the card that tells me a bit about sort of what your spirit or soul is working on during all of this. Now, this is the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords is always indicative kind of nightmares, fears, unwarranted fears, worries, that sort of a thing, tricks that the mind can play on us. When I look at this in the soul space, to me, it feels like what the soul is wanting us to address, or how it's wanting us to work within this whole frame of everything, is dealing with any last minute fears. And that's part of what's going on here with this Five of Wands as the foundation. To me, it's like my Taurus signs have been working on this new change. With change sometimes comes worry. With change sometimes comes fear. With also the settling of this, even though it's not beyond my Taurians to achieve that with this Seven of Pentacles, it is that feeling of it being out of control. And I think that some of that creates a little bit of disease or unease amongst you, and that might be sort of manifesting in worries, nightmares, things like that, where the mind is kind of working against us. And when I look at this, it's, to me, this card, as she's reaching into the future, it's showing me that we need to sort of let go of the conflicting thoughts that we have in our own mind that sort of fight against us or stand in our way. As we let go of those things and move towards a better future or a brighter future that we can kind of believe in, we'll begin to sort of be able to access the settling that I feel like is happening here in the center with this Seven of Pentacles, okay? So the next card is, the next two cards are what I call the outside influences. These cards tell me a bit about sort of what's influencing us, that it's not necessarily of us, it's around us. So this can be people, sometimes events or energies, sometimes things like belief systems that are having an effect on us, but they don't really belong to us. We've just adopted them in some way. So on one side, we have the Three of Pentacles. To me, it's interesting. You have all odd cards so far. I mean, we'll see what comes out on the opposite side as an influence. But the all odd numbers to me is really calling my attention, like the 3, 7, 5, and 9. Like, I'm not so sure that May is not going to feel slightly off for my Taurians in a way. And not that odd numbered cards are an off thing, but it is calling my attention right now. And so that's making me feel like you guys might not feel fully centered through the month of May, but you're going to work hard towards it. And because of that hard work, you will sort of help others to sort of believe that they can put in that work, if that makes sense. This Three of Pentacles to me feels like the fears of others around money kind of coming in and affecting your situation. And the reason why I say that is we have these two people here, and they're beautifully socially distant, right? Look at this. They are social distancing perfectly. Look at that, 6 feet, bitch, 6 feet. But I feel like this one laying on the ground might be talking to my Taurus. I feel like the Taurus is in all white here, right? This is you guys, and this is somebody else that's maybe down on their luck or further down, having a harder time with all of this. And I feel like their experience, or what they may be saying to you, be aware that their experience is their experience. You don't have to go into their fears, their nightmares, their sort of worries to be able to get what it is you need to happen in the month of May. Does that make sense? I want to say that my Taurians need to remind themselves of how strong you guys are, how capable you guys are, how grounded your energy can be, and what good creators you can be, right? There is a big flux with all of these odd numbers here. To me, that feels like it's not going to feel quite right in the month of May just yet, but you are working towards it. And I feel like this 9 and this 5 are all about releasing things that no longer work for you. This foundational change of this 5 of Wands is about sort of like, how do I want to say this? Like sinking into that change, or easing into it and allowing it to take place, and allowing, maybe the path isn't very clear in front of you about where it's going to go, but you have to know and believe in yourself enough that you will be able to succeed and achieve what it is you're looking for, right? You don't want other people and their worries to affect you, is what I feel like this Three of Pentacles is about. This feels like other people talking about their problems in today's pandemic-based world, and that coming into your space and maybe sort of setting you off a little bit or affecting you where this is why you might have this Nine of Swords up in your spirit or soul space, is these people are coming around to almost challenge your beliefs about yourself so that you almost have to face these fears that are maybe deeper down in the subconscious that the mind wants you or your spirit wants you to pull up out of your mind, address, and let go. Okay? Because we're kind of, I really truly feel that we're going into a new era, right? And we have to believe that. And we have to believe that even though the world feels a little bit wonky right now, that the new era will show us new aspects of not only of ourselves but of the world and how we operate within it, right? So we want to go into it as full, as sort of like how do I want to say this? Like as fully developed as we can and as ready for the changes as we can. And I think that's what sort of these odd numbered cards are, is that we don't really quite know what the world is looking like yet. So we have to sort of figure out almost in real time, as the world is changing, so are we. And so I think that's some of this oddness in the numbers. Does that make sense? All right, and then the next card is the Lovers. Now this card is usually associated, I believe, with the sign of Gemini, but this is a major arcana card. To me, this feels celebratory. To me, this feels like finding the good in the world and really focusing on that. So we have two different voices happening on either side of us in the month of May, my Tauruses. And Tauruses are natural born lovers, is the way that I see it, right? So even though this to me feels like in line with kind of your true nature in a way, when I'm looking at this feels like people coming together, or the idea, the thought, the power of that coming together. We have this beautiful angel above these people that look like they're being married, right? So to me, this might be the coming together of us again, or the belief in that, focusing on the idea of that, like, what is it that I'm going to do when we're all able to sort of reunite, and focusing on the blessings of that, and also knowing that this is sort of divinely guided. That's kind of what this angel sort of appears to me. And there's a big impact with this being a major arcana card. To me, it says we have a choice. We can either focus on sort of trusting spirit and that it's all going to work out and that it is going to be a much better world, or we listen to Jim complain about his problems here. Well, Jim needs to get up off of his ass and like fix his problems. Laying there bitching about it, Jim, is not really going to work. Or, you know, whoever. I don't know that it's Jim, that name popped into my head. But do you see what I'm saying? So we don't want to listen to this guy. He's kind of like, oh fuck,